What is up, guys? Ninja of the Rift here, and today we're going to be doing a Shen Jungle Tank replay. And so this is going to be a Shen Jungle Mage Tank. The whole goal of this build is to burn your enemies to death. You are going to be doing a lot of magic damage. You are going to be doing on hit damage. And you're going to be tanky as hell. The core of this build is Sunfire, Leandries, and Iceborne. The rest are just tank items or some damage items if you're that fed. So let's get into it. Red is what we start. We get Twilight Assault, our first ability, the Empowered Sword, as you can see there. And then that red bar is our key barrier, which right here you'll see will just proc it. And it gives you a shield, like a barrier, to block auto attacks. Pantheon got the first kill, that was great. And so here, you guys can see, we're going to auto attack first, and then taunt the camp. Reason being, you want to get all the chickens damaged. Then you see as I was killing the smaller chickens first, then I let the last chicken burn down, and the big chicken, I killed it with the smite and auto attacks. Here we have level 3. That's your fastest way to level 3. About less than a minute 30. That's pretty good. We're beating Nunu right here with that timing. And then Nunu decided to gank mid. And while you're supposed to save your laner, excuse me, in this case, we wouldn't have probably made it, and we would have lost the scuttle. What I mean is, the time it takes us to walk through there, we wouldn't have made it. We would have lost scuttle. Here, it's amazing that Nunu can just flash and bite and get health back. But Pantheon followed up, and so what I did is I baited the Yasuo, and I purposely tried to get him to hit the bush that way, because Pantheon was coming on one side, and I was going to be on the other side. He had no escape. And even though he flashed to the side, I just taunted him. Here, it was kind of a dumb mistake. When you're getting surrounded like this, you never want to be in a fight, especially this early in the game. It wasn't good for us to engage the Nunu. We shouldn't have done that. We should have immediately jumped on Rengar. And that's why we missed that fight up. If you would have jumped on Rengar, Nunu and Yasuo are pretty kind of far. Especially Yas. And it would have just been a 2v2 that we could probably won. If not, we can just get Rengar and probably leave. In a better situation overall. But it's okay. Things happen. Blue side, you're going to start with your blue. But first I was trying to see if I could prevent Nunu from getting scuttle. Unfortunately I couldn't. But here I start a fight. And the reason being is I know Jace is here. As soon as he goes in and uses Electro Hammer, I taunt. And I taunt away from their base to get them far away. And you see they couldn't get away. Here, Kate tries to kill us, but we're kind of too tanky for her. And then we take her blue. Blue, you want to start using Twilight Assault. Pretty standard. You can block its auto attack with your Spirit Refuge, which is that little dome. You can also cast Spirit Refuge to an ally, just if you didn't know. You can block enemy auto attacks. Blocks any type of auto attacks. Empowered, not empowered. Any type that you can think of. Just auto attacks. Abilities that are auto attacks, blocks that too. So yeah. Shen's really good, better clearing on blue side in terms of speed. He does really good with single targets because he doesn't have much AoE aside from his taunt. And we'll Bomby Cinder. Build. We had already built Bomby Cinder right here. And so we're going to build that Kindle Gem. We're trying to finish out that Sunfire first. We can look around. There's a couple fights going on. But we needed to, of course, at this point in the level, in the game, once you hit 5, you want to look to ult, use your ult. Because you can be at 2 places at once with your ult. As you see, Jace goes low, we ult him. And then that just saves him. You're not going to always make a play off your ult, but you can save your allies. Here, Nunu knows I'm there, so I just taunt out. I don't want to start a fight with Jace being low, and I didn't particularly know if Yasuo had recalled or not at that moment, so it was safe to say I didn't want to start a fight. Here, Pants, Nunu tries to gank Pants, and he kind of is successful. But the problem is he doesn't get the kill, and then he comes to my red thinking I'm not there, but it's a kind of dumb move. Here it's very important, I taunt as soon as he's going to hit that bush, so I can get in the bush with him, and I can keep my flash for that. Because as you can see, he would have snared me and gotten away. His re-healing is really good off that bite, and so it's really fundamental that we stick with him as much as possible. Because we don't have as much CC as he does in terms of slows and snares and all that. We have very good CC, but not as much as he. Here we just take red. Any downtime, we want to farm those camps. Here, I decided to take the health bush because the dragon was up and they were all going towards it. We start a fight with Yasuo, taunt him into our dome, so he can't really do anything. And he just gets out of it. No, he can't even set up a tornado because we're blocking his auto attack. Here, Pamp goes right in. Bot lane kind of separates and gets into their own battle, so we collapse on Nunu. It's very important to get the jungler out of the dragon and Baron fights, as well as Herald, because you want to be able to take that without having to contest smite. And Nunu basically has 2 smites with that bite, so you definitely want to take him out if possible. Here we just finish taking the dragon. And so we could have picked the fight with Rengar here, but I decided not to, because they were probably going to start coming up, and you don't want to prolong a fight and then get caught in a bad situation like we did earlier. You learn from your mistakes, even when you're playing the game. That's the beauty of League. Look around. Pantheon was giving Rengar the fight, and he got the kill. Here I ult him because Yasuo came in and could have killed him, but he didn't really need the ult. Here, Nunu kind of goes in too far with the snowball. We punish him for it. His ult doesn't matter to us at this point. It doesn't do damage. I took any damage and did a ton of damage to him. And we were already like 4-1 at this point. 3-1, sorry. And we were just going to start taking the Herald. Anyone who would come to jump and contest, they would probably be pretty much dead. So, and then I started taking the Scuttle Crab. As you can see, the Sunfire procs was still up because of dealing damage to the champions, so I take this camp real fast. Right here, I see Jay's flash, so I flash E because I don't want Rengar to get away, and then Pantheon stuns him, and that combo is just lethal. If you got a Pantheon on your team or someone who can follow up with a direct CC, it becomes really good for you in lethal. Here, we try to get Nunu. I missed the taunt. I do slow him, but you know, he has his slow and his snowballs, and you really can't. Chasing Nunu is really difficult and not the best thing to do, as y'all saw before. At this point, I started to try to take red. I almost had ult up. I was just waiting for my ult to get up. Unfortunately, we couldn't really save. We couldn't get the ult. Sorry, we couldn't get the ult earlier to actually get some kills with Jace. We would have gotten a couple kills if we would have been able to ult him. Fortunately, that was not the case. You just keep on taking. Here, chickens are pretty easy to take. Bomby Cinder does all the damage, and Twilight Assault, you don't even do anything. Here, we ult Pantheon. It's a really good ult because it allows Pantheon to live, use his shield, and he ended up getting the double kill. Really nice. So as you can see, I'm basically everywhere. I mean, his cooldowns get pretty low once you get Hunter Genius fully stacked, and then the Sunfire does a lot of damage, and then the Haunting Gauss gives him that big ult shield. You also saw a huge ult shield. It's because whenever a champion's lower health, they get a bigger ult shield, and it scales off 18 health. And I have both. So it's really good. Here, I struggled defending this tower. Shen struggles against big range, like Caitlyn. Big time. And right here, they run away. Rengar does come. Jace probably thought we were pushing up. He tried to flank. Here, Rengar does the mistake. Braum does the mistake, and Rengar too. They both do the mistake of jumping. Like, he shouldn't jump Pantheon. He should have jumped Jace, who was already gonna die. And they would have gotten that kill faster and then turned on us. Here, unfortunately, Braum flashes, and we get away with 1 health. Literally 1 health. And it wasn't a successful battle, I could say. We lost 2 for 1. It's not easy. And at this point, we had Sunfire and Liandry's. We were 5-1. We were pretty fed, and we were building towards our Iceborne Gauntlet, which is the 3rd core part of this build. Here, we're gonna ult into that fight. We get there. Yasuo should have used his ult if he had it up, but he decided not to, and that punished him pretty badly. We needed to kill him quickly. I taunted out of there because I knew I was going to get snared by the whole team. And we got Yasuo. And then here, I ended up doing a triple kill, just the damage you do with this build. You see, I'm constantly doing burn damage. You see their life go up, even if no one's attacking them. I'm constantly doing burn damage. Even if no one's attacking, I'm constantly doing burn damage. And it's really good burn damage. It's really good over time. The tankier you get, the worse it gets. And with Iceborne, when they're slowed, it gets even worse. Because they can't move. It's much harder for them to move out. And the tankier you are, well, the more health, the more you can survive, the more you can just stand there. Once you stack the full Sunfire stacks with it, the burn becomes really OP. Here, I just taunt Yasuo, and it's just funny. He can't even get away at this point. At this point, we're kind of autopiloting. We kind of have that control factor in the game. And there's not really much they can do. Here, once they're pushed in, you want to take away the jungler's farm resources. You don't want him to be able to get farm. You want to put him even more down. He's already 2 levels behind me. And right here, I'm putting him more down by just not letting him farm. I took his blue. And I should have stayed taking another camper too. But it is okay. Here we had the core at Sunfire Liandry's Iceborne I was talking about. As you can see, the Iceborne Gauntlet provides a little slow there. It's the spell blade. So every time you use a spell, it affects that sheen effect. Right? It applies that sheen effect. And then it gives a slow on top of that. And the sheen effect gives extra damage to your next ability attack. As you can see here, boom. I hit it for a good amount of damage while my other basic attacks aren't that OP. As you saw right there, my basic attack right here, boom, it does extra damage, and then my other one doesn't do quite as much. So it's a little bit, because you're not building AD like you are with Sunder, when you build Sunder. Here, look, I'm just burning him to death. Look, he's just burning. Yasuo is just burning to death. All that damage, half of that damage after the auto attack, you're just burning enemies. And that's where this build's OP. Because you can just walk around and be like, essentially, a brand. It's kind of funny. A brand without abilities. In a way. Here, we try to smite him. We get the auto attack, and you see the slow. As soon as I got the auto attack, it also applies to Liandry's burn. So he was already slow burning, and we just finished him off. It's really, really good. This build's really good. You're not as tanky in terms of armor and magic resist until later in the game. But if you are fed, or if you are if your team has another tank, this is a really perfect build. And if your team needs magic damage, it's even a better build. Here, Caitlyn was really hurting us. Yasuo ults me, bad idea. I just used that barrier to survive that ult. I have Aftershock too. He really can't do damage to me, because I have Iceborne, which is my armor. Here I ult Jace because he was in a fight. and he was about to die. Unfortunately, I think it was Nunu or Rengar. He couldn't really get hold of him. It's okay. We recall. We get that teleport, and so that teleport, look, what do? We just teleport in the lane. We're gonna get plated steel caps because of the armor, because you know Caitlyn's basic attacks were hurting us. That's why we got that, and we just TP in the lane. So this is why the Shen jungle strat works so well, because look, I TP right in the fight. Oh, I don't have ult, I just TP. Oh, I have ult, I can ult the ally, and then I can TP to a tower. Like if I had ult, I would have ulted and TP bot, as you can see, is getting pushed. So this strat is really good. You become really mobile, and the way I was fed at this point in the game, at 10-1, I become a huge threat. Here, I take a 1v1 with Caitlyn. You see how I block 3 of her auto attacks? That's huge. We slow her, and she can't run away quite as fast. We slow her again with the blade and on top the Iceborne, and we just shred her. Here, I decide to actually get ballsy and fight the Yasuo. I did a pretty decent job, I think, but the Braum unfortunately got that stun on us. And if it weren't for the Yasuo ult, we would have killed Yasuo and lived. It was pretty crazy how much damage we do there. And in reality, I only have one true damage item. The rest are tank damage items. Rengar got Lucian. He tried to actually, couldn't even get him. It's funny how he's 2-9, gosh. But yeah. So we were pretty fed. 11-2 is amazing. We were building towards that Thornmail, and then I was probably going to build Randuin's just because they really didn't have AP on their team. That was their biggest mistake, not having AP. Because if you let me just keep on building armor with that Iceborne, it's even better for your Shen. Shen's weakness is AP, so you definitely want to watch out in AP comps. Another weakness of Shen is comps that can avoid CC. Guys like Olaf, Kha'Zix that can jump around, slippery characters that can hurt Shen. Because if you don't hit that taunt, you're going to take a lot of damage. Especially if you're going a damage build and not going as tanky like you are here. But at this point, Clear is really efficient. Yeah. And you can see that zone gets bigger while we build more armor. And so when you have a ton of armor, it's pretty cool. Like with Rammus, this is also really good on a lesser note. It's really fun. Here, we're going to take the 1v1 with Nunu. We missed the taunt. And he's really hard to... You see, he's got the movement speed, he's got the Dead Man's Plate, and he can use the snowballs. And he has the other snowball, so he kind of just gets away. I went to ult Lucian there, I could not. And then here, we're just called a stalemate. Caitlyn tries to take my camps, so I just block her auto attacks. Braum tries to go in for me, he misses his ult. And then I just ult Pantheon right here, and we make a big fight. But what they didn't realize is Jace was ending the game over here. And I would have probably won this fight regardless. We actually did winning this fight, but even then, I mean, Jace was ending the game. They were in a bad spot. But yeah, guys, this was my Shen Jungle Mage Tank build. Pretty good AP damage. You just burn your enemies to death. Your CC is really good with Iceborne. You're tanky enough to tank for your team. It's a really good build overall. I'm just going to show you all the build and some substitutes really quick like I usually do. It's called Mage Tank. So the build itself is Sunfire, Leandries, Iceborne. Still play a teleport because you can go Mercury's Hedge if you need it. That would probably go still play Steel Caps, Thornmail, and then Abyssal Mask. If they don't have that MR like in the AP, I would have probably gone Randuin's Omen. Would have been a great item. A lot of times you need Randuin's, so it's worth it. Abyssal Mask would amplify all the damage done by the Sunfire Leandries and make you really, really strong. This is similar to an Amumu build, but the Iceborne being the catch, because since your ability base with your Twilight Assault, you want to really have some good on-hit damage. Because Twilight Assault is basically on-hit magic damage. Runes, you can go Conqueror and make this a super damage build, but you need the tankiness, so Aftershock is better. Aftershock is probably the best rune for Shen right now, in my opinion, aside from Grasp if you're going to top lane, or maybe Conqueror. Triumph is really good. It's just better in jungle fights and early game fights. weakness you can go since you do impair movement. They can take more damage. That's a good build 2 idea too if you don't really think you're going to get into early fights or you're going to avoid that jungler. Conditioning, Adaptive Carpus isn't bad, but conditioning is the best. Especially since we're building that Sunfire and Leandries. We're not going to have enough tank items just yet to give us our AR and MR, so any little armor and magic we can get is really good. And then Hunter Genius gives you ability haste, which is really important to be able to spam our abilities and take proc of that sheen. Yeah. So this is my Shen Mage Tank build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, as I said, it's really good. You do a lot of burn damage. You're tanky. You have a lot of CC. Just a great overall build. Please, if you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And thank you. I'll see you on the next one.